Welcome to Inner Mammal Chat. Today we'll explore 7 reasons why people are unhappy. I'm Loretta Breuning, founder of the Inner Mammal Institute. Do you wonder why so many people are unhappy? When you know how our brain works, things make sense. Here are 7 reasons why our brains are prone to unhappiness. The first is that unhappiness is a key survival tool. Our brain has 2 gears, pushing forward and holding back. Holding back from harm is as important to survival as forging ahead to meet needs. Unhappy brain chemicals hold you back the way happy brain chemicals push you forward. The unhappy chemical is cortisol, which conveys pain, fear, stress, panic, and anxiety. Cortisol works. It gets your attention to potential threats and unmet needs and motivates you to do what it takes to make the bad feelings stop. Cortisol is as valuable as the happy chemicals, dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin, and endorphin. The second reason so many people are unhappy is that our happy chemicals were not designed to be on all the time. Happy chemicals spurt when you see a way to meet a survival need. But the spurt is soon over and the happy chemical is metabolized. You wish the good feeling would last, but going back to neutral prepares your brain to respond to the next opportunity to meet a need. Cortisol is masked by the joy of happy chemicals, so bad feelings may creep back into your awareness when a happy spurt ends. You might rush to trigger more happy chemicals in any way possible to avoid that bad feeling. If you do, you are likely to end up with a habit that causes more unhappiness in the long run. You are better off learning to live with a bit of cortisol. Reason number 3 is that our brain evolved to scan for threat. In the state of nature, mammals face threats on the way to meeting their needs. A rabbit faces predator threat when it leaves its burrow to eat. A monkey is threatened by sharp-toothed rivals when it seeks mating opportunity. A mammal that waited around for perfect safety would starve and its genes would be wiped out. We are not descended from that mammal. We are descended from brains that managed risk by scanning for danger signals. If you are not in immediate danger, your brain scans out for more distant threats. Social threats and future threats loom large when your belly is full and there's no scent of predator. Small social disappointments can preoccupy you, and every possible long-term risk grabs your attention. Our big brain can anticipate a lot of threats, which helps us survive, but also causes unhappiness. The fourth reason people are unhappy is that cortisol turns on when you see things that turned it on in your youth. Cortisol paves neural pathways so it can turn on faster next time. These pathways build easily in youth, so whatever made you unhappy when you were young wired your brain to respond to it now. Conscious memory or intent is not required. The electricity in your brain flows like water in a storm, finding the paths of least resistance. These paths get paved by happy and unhappy chemicals. We are born with lots of neurons, but very few connections between them. We mammals connect up our brains by interacting with the world around us after birth. The bigger a mammal's brain, the longer its childhood, because it takes time for useful connections to build. Reptiles are hardwired with the experience of their ancestors, but you had a chance to wire yourself from personal experience. There's a downside to that, which is that we all face the world with an operating system. The downside of that is that we all face the world with an operating system built during puberty, which is our last peak of neuroplasticity. Whatever made you feel bad in adolescence built highways to your cortisol that invite your electricity today. Reason number 5 is that mirror neurons make you feel bad when those around you feel bad. Mirror neurons fire when you witness pain or pleasure in others. The firing is weaker than direct experience, but if you witness the same thing over and over, a pathway builds. Mirror neurons teach a young mammal where pain and pleasure can be expected. This promotes survival because you don't have to get bitten by a lion or run over by a car to learn to avoid them. A mammal who runs when its herd mate runs is more likely to survive. Mammals stick with groups despite intense frictions because they face common enemies. But if you want the protection of a herd, you're expected to share its pain. The sixth reason people are unhappy is that neurochemicals are hard to build. The sixth reason our brain creates unhappiness is that new circuits are hard to build after puberty. We're not slaves to our neurochemical impulses. We can build new pathways, but it's harder than you think. You may expect it to be easy because it happened effortlessly when you were young, but neuroplasticity drops after puberty, and the whoosh of electricity through your existing circuits is the normal you know. When you try something different, it can feel wrong even when you're sure it's right, because it only gives you a trickle of electricity. You may even feel like your survival is threatened when you resist old impulses, because your old circuits equal survival to your inner mammal. You have the power to redirect the electricity in your brain, but it takes so much focus that you have to stop everything else to do it. And even when you succeed at slashing a new trail through your jungle of neurons, it grows over by the next day if you don't use it again. You must repeat a new behavior every day for 6 weeks for a new trail to establish. You are deciding where to invest your energy in every moment. You are always choosing whether to let your electricity just flow or intentionally redirect it. No one can do this for you, and you cannot do it for someone else. The last reason for unhappiness is that your brain cares more about the survival of your genes than it cares about the survival of your body. Of course, you don't think that consciously, but your body will fail in its survival efforts someday. Your brain lives with this horrible thought and takes comfort in creating something that will live on. In the state of nature, you created children, but today, people create diverse ways of. The last reason for unhappiness is that your brain cares more about the survival of your genes than it cares about your body. Of course, you don't think that consciously, but your body will fail in its survival efforts someday. Your brain lives with that horrible thought and takes comfort in creating something that will live on. In the state of nature, you created children, but today, people explore many ways of leaving a legacy. Natural selection built a brain that rewards you with happy chemicals when you do something to keep your unique individual essence alive. But it floods you with cortisol when your legacy suffers a setback. If a sandwich is named in your honor at your local cafe, it'll feel good for a while, but every threat to that sandwich will feel like a survival threat. If you have children, every obstacle and disappointment will feel like a survival threat. And if you don't have children, other children will trigger that threatened feeling. In the state of nature, survival threats were low, and a mammal's reproductive prospects improved if its status and resources improved. That's why our neurochemicals respond so intensely to changes in our status and resources despite our best intentions. You don't consciously think about your genes, and animals surely don't, but the mammal brain cares about your legacy as if your life depended on it. Your brain is inherited from people who survived. Your brain is inherited from people who survived and had children who survived. Your ancestors lived in harsh conditions that you can hardly imagine. They survived by looking for ways to trigger their happy chemicals and avoid cortisol. So it's not surprising that we are still trying to trigger happy chemicals and avoid cortisol. You might wish your happy chemicals just flowed effortlessly and cortisol was just eliminated. But that's not how our brain works. It saves happy chemicals for steps toward meeting your needs, and after a short spurt, you have to do more to get more. It's not easy being a big-brained mammal. You've surely heard that our society is the cause of unhappiness. It's appealing to believe that another society would just make you happy all the time, especially when the mammals around you believe that. Blaming our society for unhappiness gives you the support of a group bonded in opposition. You have surely heard that our society is the cause of unhappiness. It's appealing to believe that another society would make you happy all the time, especially when the mammals around you believe that. Blaming our society for unhappiness gives you the support of a group bonded in opposition to a common enemy. It can even improve your mating opportunity by raising your status and resources. But our society cannot trigger your happy chemicals. Only you can do that with steps toward meeting your needs. When you expect society to make you happy, you give away your power over your own brain. We'll talk more about that power in the next Inner Mammal Chat, so please join me, and first, go to our website, innermammalinstitute.org. See you next time.